Hey everyone, let's dive into the epic conclusion of Silo Season 2. This finale gave us everything. Emotional goodbyes, shocking twists, and, of course, that massive cliffhanger. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. We've got so much to unpack, so let's get right into it.
Let's fucking
Bernard captures the rebels. So things kick off with Knox and Shirley putting their rebellion plan into action. They bring Pete Nichols on board to help distract Bernard while they work to free Silo 18. The mechanical team stages a big show, making Bernard think they're going to blow up the generator. Predictably, Bernard panics and sends his raiders to the generator room, leaving the rest of the silo vulnerable. Meanwhile, Lucas Kyle, who's still grappling with the algorithm's warnings about the safeguard procedure, tries to reach Bernard but gets captured in the chaos. Knox and the others put up a solid fight but are eventually overpowered and thrown into makeshift holding cells in the cafeteria, along with other down deepers. But even locked up, they're not giving up. You can feel the tension building as the rebellion inches closer to a breaking point.
If she's alive, you give her this.
Walker's sacrifice and Pete's heroism. Now Walker, who's been playing Bernard like a fiddle, keeps him distracted long enough for Pete and Hank to set up explosives on the 90th level. But of course, there's a hiccup. The timer mechanism breaks, meaning someone has to stay behind to manually detonate the bombs. And who steps up? Pete Nichols. This part hits hard. Pete hands his watch to Hank and asks him to pass it on to Juliette with a message. She is perfect. It's such a gut punch moment. The explosion is massive and delays the raiders, giving the rebels a critical edge. Pete's sacrifice isn't just heroic, it's the spark that reignites the Down Deepers' resolve.
If it hears this, we're dead.
Bernard's desperation. Now, with his forces scattered and his control slipping, Bernard is visibly unraveling. Lucas confronts him, hinting at a devastating truth about the safeguard procedure. While we don't hear everything, whatever Lucas tells Bernard completely breaks him. In a surprising move, Bernard appoints Robert as his shadow, hands over his keychain, and gives him the vault code. It's a desperate attempt to ensure some semblance of order, but it's clear Bernard knows he's out of time.
poison in it! Enough poison to kill everybody, all 10,000!
Solo discovers the safeguard procedure. Over in Silo 17, Solo stumbles upon a collection of old documents in a hidden compartment. Among them, he finds detailed notes about the safeguard procedure, a fail-safe protocol designed to kill everyone in the silo during a rebellion or major breach. The mechanism involves a system of gas pipes strategically placed to release lethal toxins, effectively erasing all life within the silo. Solo recalls fragmented memories of his parents discussing this very protocol during the last uprising they lived through. His father, a former IT worker, had managed to override the system temporarily, allowing a small group of survivors to avoid immediate death, though many ultimately succumbed to starvation. The realization hits hard. Silo 18's rebellion could activate the safeguard procedure, putting countless lives at risk. Solo shares his findings with Juliette, who connects the dots to their own situation. The idea that the rebellion she inspired might inadvertently trigger mass casualties leaves her shaken but resolute. Solo's discovery isn't just a historical footnote, it's a dire warning. Juliette decides she has to return to Silo 18, determined to find a way to prevent the safeguard from being activated. The odds are stacked against her, but her resolve only grows stronger as she prepares to face whatever challenges lie ahead.
So, you can use this one to get back?
Juliette's journey back to Silo 18. This part is so emotional. Juliette's preparing to leave, but there's a problem. Solo's father's old suit isn't in great shape. This leads to a tense moment, but Solo steps up and tests the suit underwater to make sure it's still usable. It's a selfless act that shows just how much he trusts Juliette and believes in her mission. Before she leaves, Juliette shares heartfelt goodbyes with the survivors. Hope, one of the younger survivors, pleads with her to stay or take them along, but Juliette promises to come back for them. Solo's trust and Hope's desperation highlight the stakes and deepen the emotional connection between these characters. Juliette's determination to save them is crystal clear, and honestly, it's what makes her such a compelling protagonist.
Bernard, We need you now. I don't know what's going through your head, but we need you to come out. We need
Kennedy's reckless plan. Back in Silo 18, things are spiraling out of control. Kennedy leads a mob determined to open the silo's doors and see what's outside. Mechanical's leaders, Knox, Shirley, and Hank, try to stop them, knowing the safeguard procedure could be triggered if the doors are breached. Meanwhile, Robert uses Bernard's keychain to access the vault and speak with the algorithm. The algorithm suggests that Camille, Robert's wife, is the best candidate to lead Silo 18. This twist is both hilarious and fitting, because let's face it, Camille has been the smarter Sims all along. Robert, who's been vying for power, gets sidelined, and you can't help but feel a little satisfaction. Juliet's return and the climactic showdown. Just as Kennedy's mob is about to breach the blast doors, Juliette arrives in the nick of time, holding up a cloth with a simple but powerful message: it's not safe outside. The crowd hesitates, their anger and desperation momentarily subdued by the sight of Juliette, alive and determined. Her return is more than just a dramatic entrance, it's a symbol of hope and resilience for the people of Silo 18. As the mob disperses, Juliette heads straight to Bernard for a final confrontation. Their heated exchange revolves around the safeguard procedure and the truth behind the silo's existence. Juliette demands answers. Who created the safeguard? Why are the silos designed to contain rather than protect? Bernard, visibly shaken and weary, reveals fragments of the grim truth. He admits that the silos are part of a larger experiment, controlled by Silo 1, where the elite dictate the fates of all other silos. His focus, however, remains on escaping the silo's confines rather than addressing the rebellion or the people's plight. As their argument reaches a boiling point, Bernard tries to use the airlock to leave, but Juliette follows, determined not to let him destroy everything in his path. The airlock door seals shut behind them, triggering the automatic purge system. Flames roar to life, engulfing the chamber in a fiery inferno. Bernard's basic hazmat suit offers little protection, while Juliette's fire-resistant gear shields her from the worst of it. The scene is both intense and symbolic, highlighting the stark differences between their ideologies. Bernard's self-serving cowardice versus Juliette's unwavering commitment to the truth and her people.
Get down!
Is Bernard dead? Here's the thing. Juliette survives, and Bernard doesn't. Why? Juliette's wearing a fire-resistant suit, while Bernard is in a basic hazmat suit that burns up instantly. The flames, meant to prevent contamination, are a brutal reminder of the silo's harsh controls. Ironically, the rats in Silo 17 destroying the hazmat suit forced Juliette to use the firefighter suit, which ultimately saves her. That said, her survival isn't without consequences. The helmet's plastic components might have caused burns on her neck or face, adding another layer of suspense for Season 3. As for Bernard, his death feels inevitable. Even though it's not explicitly shown, the odds of him surviving are pretty much zero. This adaptation deviates from the book, but leaves just enough ambiguity to keep us guessing.
You ever get a red?
Not really.
The Congressman and Helen in the past. The final scene of the season takes us back to the late 2040s before the nuclear fallout. We see a young Congressman, Donald Keene, meeting a woman named Helen in Washington, D.C. While their meeting starts as a potential date, it quickly becomes clear that Helen is more interested in interviewing him. Donald, disappointed, leaves her a gift, a Ducky Pez dispenser. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll recognize this Pez dispenser. It's the same one George Wilkins found in Silo 18. This connection hints that Helen might have ended up in Silo 18 and left behind this relic. The scene also ties into the deeper conspiracy about the Silo's origins, but we'll have to wait for Season 3 to get the full story.
Whether or not there really was a radiological weapon attack on the United States.
Who will be the new IT head? Okay, let's talk about Camille. When the algorithm asks Robert to leave the vault with their son Anthony while Camille stays behind, it becomes clear she's been chosen as the new IT head. This is such a satisfying twist. Camille has always been the more capable Sims, and it's about time she got the recognition she deserves. That said, her leadership isn't going to be smooth sailing. The algorithm might trust her, but the people of Silo 18 won't accept anyone's authority as easily as Juliette's. And with Juliette's eventual return, Camille will likely have to work closely with her to maintain order.
I won't tell you. Yes, you can kill me. And my mother.
Who will be the new mayor? Let's be real. Juliette is the obvious choice for Silo 18's next mayor. With Bernard gone and Camille handling IT, Juliette's leadership will be crucial in restoring peace and rebuilding after the rebellion. Her first task? Fixing the staircase destroyed by her father's explosion. It's a symbolic way to bring the silo back together. But not everyone will be thrilled with Juliette's rise to power. Robert Sims, sidelined and bitter, seems poised to become the next antagonist. He'll likely try to undermine Juliette and incite unrest, setting up more conflict for the next season.
To be honest, I don't know what's going to happen when I walk outside, so I'm not going to lie to you.
Juliet's New War, one thing is clear. Juliette won't forget the survivors of Silo 17. She promised Solo, Hope, and the others that she'd come back for them, and she's not the type to break her word. But rescuing them won't be easy. The algorithm won't allow her to bring outsiders into Silo 18, and the safeguard procedure looms as a constant threat. Solo mentioned that his parents found a way to override the safeguard, but the details are hazy. Juliette will need to dig deeper to figure out how to deactivate it without triggering a catastrophe. This sets the stage for a new conflict, potentially involving the mysterious Silo 1 and its inhabitants. Juliette's fight is far from over, and the stakes have never been higher.
Nothing's gonna stop me from trying.
Our nerdy thoughts. Silo Season 2 ends on a high note, blending action, emotion, and mystery. The finale sets up so many exciting possibilities for Season 3, from Juliette's leadership to the origins of the silos. Whether we're following Juliette's journey or diving into the before times, one thing is certain: the story is just getting started. Let us know your theories and what you're most excited about in the comments below. Until next time, let's enter in a different silo.
Heck, I'll laugh anyway.